Hey guys, sorry for the delay. YouTube decided to change everything on me. So I had to go in and figure out the new system of setting up stuff live. So I apologize once again for the delay. It took me an extra like 10 minutes to figure that out. So yeah, totally blaming them for that one. So I apologize. But I'm here now. So I'm getting ready so that we can just go ahead and work through the song. As you can probably tell, I'm losing my voice. So we'll just do the best we can today. And just let me know how the sound is, if you can hear the bass, and if it's too loud or anything, and then we'll just go ahead and jump into it. All right. Here we go. So thank you for bearing with me, and we will jump right in. So first of all, this week I decided to do a bossa nova groove with the loop pedal, and it started with a drum pattern. So this drum pattern is probably the hardest part of this. So just so you guys know, it's got two things going on at once, and basically it's a bass drum rhythm that I'm slapping with my thumb like that. And then there's a clave pattern that I'm using my fingernail, kind of moving it out like I'm strumming to get that along with the bass drum. So when you play them by themselves, the bass drum pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 that's what you would loop, that particular length of it. And then the clave pattern is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm putting those two things together, but if you wanted to, you could loop those things separately as well, because I know that coordination is the hardest part of this groove. So if that's too hard for you guys, that's something that you can change. So anyway, here's what it sounds like together. So you got to get that way it lines up if you want to play them together, or like I said, you can just do them separately. So I'm going to go ahead and loop that real quick so you guys can hear it looped. I'm going to stomp the pedal right with the first slap, and then I'm going to end right where I would slap again to start the pattern over after going through four measures of this, which is 2 times through the pattern. Here we go. Notice how I hit it once again to start right with the next time. I'll turn this down a little bit. So now we have our drum groove. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this real quick just so we can get an idea of what the next groove is. The next groove is the bass line. So this is a very traditional bossa nova style bass line. I didn't write it on the original music, but I'm actually outlining a 2-5-1 progression in C minor. So I'm just playing a bossa nova bass line that does that. So that's the way the bass line is going to sound. And if you're kind of confused on the drum beat, let me know and we can go back through and talk about that rhythm in a little bit. I'm just going to keep the lesson moving for now, but I get that that is the hardest part, so we can spend more time on that in a minute. But one thing that I do to try to keep things sonically where they are, you don't have a lot of time to change your EQ settings on the bass while you're doing this loop. So what I typically do is I get a different EQ out of these sounds by playing at a different place on the string. So when I'm playing the bass line, I play them closer to the neck. And when I'm playing the chordal part, I'm going to play closer to the bridge. And then when I'm doing the drum part, I'm just kind of between, because that doesn't matter quite as much. It doesn't clash with the other two parts. And then when I'm playing the melody, I play kind of in the middle of a warmer tone. And then the other thing is you just don't want to play anything too loud before the melody. And you want to have your looper volume a little bit below halfway. So here's halfway. I'm just going to turn a little bit below halfway so that the loop volume is not as loud as when I'm trying to play the melody. So I want to make sure you guys can see that real quick. Hold on. So yeah, it's just below halfway. Okay. All right, so we've got our first loop looped. So that's that drum groove. So I'm going to play the bass line with, once again, my fingers going to go over by the neck rather than by the bridge to pluck, just so I get a warm one. And let me just say what the notes are before I loop it real quick. It's going to be 5th fret on the A string, 4th fret on the E string twice, then 3rd fret on the E string twice, 5th fret on the A string twice, then a single 3rd fret on the E string, then 3rd fret on the A string, then 5th fret on the D string twice, 3rd fret on the A string twice, 5th fret on the D string twice, and then back to the 3rd fret on the A string. So here's what that whole pattern sounds like. As you can tell, I started over here, but decided, right, I want to play it over in this area of the neck so it doesn't clash with anything else sonically. Keeps a lower, warmer tone, and that way I can have a brighter tone for the quarter part. So this, just so you guys know, this is outlining a D minor 7 flat 5th. So I'm hitting the root, then the flat 5th, then to the next chord, and the next chord is going to be your 5 chord, which would be like a G dominant 7. And so it's root, 5th, 5th, root, and then I'm going to a C minor chord. So I'm just going to play root, 5th, 5th, root, root, 5th, 5th, root, and then the pattern would start over again. Okay, so there's our groove. Let it go around one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So I got to the end of the pattern and it just automatically looped over. Make sure that your loop pedal is recording when you get to that part. So in case you can't hear that. Okay, so that's the idea. So we've got that looped. Now I have a chordal part, and this one has an interesting rhythm that's called a Partito Alto rhythm. And it's kind of like downbeat, downbeat, up, 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 down, down. So that would be like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4 for that rhythm. And then basically I'm just taking the upper parts of the chords, but then I'm leaving off the root. So right now I'm playing like a D minor 7 chord here. I'm not doing the flat 5 because there's just no need to right now. But basically, instead of playing the D note, I'm going to leave that one out. So the note that's on the E string right here, I'm just going to leave that one out. So what I'm left with is just the 10th fret on the D string and the 10th fret on the G string. And then from there, I'm moving to a G7 chord. But instead of playing all 3 notes, I'm going to do a rootless voicing where I leave off the G. So instead of those 3 notes, just going to be these 2 notes. And that's going to be the 9th fret on the D string and the 10th fret on the G string. And so we end up hitting that one a total of 4 times. The first one you hit 3 times. The second one you hit 4 times. And then after that, we'd be going to a C minor chord. But once again, I'm going to leave off the C. So I'm just over here with the 8th fret on the D string and the 8th fret on the G string. And then I'm going to do the whole entire Partito Alto rhythm on that, which means I'm going to hit a total of 7 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. So the whole thing sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'd start over at that point. So I'm going to add that to the loop. I'm going to let it play around one full time and then add that to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I forgot to hit to record. So make sure your loop pedal is recording when you do that part. And then once we have that, sorry, I'm just trying to get to stop forgot how many times you have to click it to stop it. So once you have that, that's it for recording on the loops. You just want the loop pedal to be in playback mode. So you just hit the pedal one time, make sure that whatever light pattern your particular pedal shows you is in playback mode. For this one, when it's stopped at these 3 little green lights like that, when it's in playback mode, it's all green, but it's showing you a thing playing like that. And when it's in record mode, they'll be red along with the green, like that. It's red and green lights. It's hard to tell on here, but you get the idea. So I don't want it to record, so I'm just gonna go back to green. All I did was just punch the pedal one time into that different mode. And then we play the melody over it. The melody is going to sound like this. Well, give me 1 second. I forgot it already. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let's talk about what that melody is. Sorry, I should have plugged in my sustain pedal so I could do a single click to stop it. The double click doesn't always work as easily. My foot's not quick enough. So what I'm doing here is 13th fret on the G string to 12th fret. It's all on the G string, by the way. To 10th fret, to 8th fret, to 7th fret. And I stay there for a whole measure. And then I'm going to go up to the 10th fret, the 8th fret, the 7th, down to the 4th, and up to the 5th. So and that rhythm's a little bit syncopated, right? So I'm doing a downbeat first, just a normal quarter note. Then I've got on beat 2, the 12th fret. And on the and of beat 2, I'm playing the 10th fret. I hold that out until the and of beat 3. So these are all on upbeats. And then when to the 7th fret, it's still on an upbeat tied to a whole note. So 1 and 2 and it was 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I think I've been playing the rhythm wrong the whole time. I think I got confused with another loop groove that I did before. So this is gonna be 1, 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like we're hiding beats 3 and beats 4 and beat 1 of the next measure by just putting all those notes on upbeats. And then the second half is almost the same with a couple extra notes there. And then so that part's going to be 13, 12, 10, all on the G string once again, 8, then up to 10, then to 8 to 7. And the second part's the same, 10, 8, 7, 4, and then ending on the 5th fret. And that rhythm's going to be 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. It's a little bit syncopated, but it's not too bad. And then after we play that melody, we're just going to solo in C harmonic minor. So I'm going to talk about what that means right now. But let's go ahead and do the melody first. So I'll count you in with this loop if you want to play along. And by the way, if you need the music for this, the video I released earlier has a play along on it. So you can kind of just pull it up to the specific part of the video that has the measures that we're working on. Or you can become a patron and download the sheet music to follow along with me on this. And I mentioned it earlier, but I wanted to mention it again for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and play that melody. Here we go. I'm going to give you one time around the loop so that you know what's going on. So it's 4 measures total, and then we'll start. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Second half. I'm gonna do it one more time for you. Here we go. And then the second half. With the right note this time. And then we'd solo in harmonic minor here. I added a note in there we did. So I added one note that wasn't technically in that scale. But let's talk about what that means. So the C harmonic minor scale is basically, I can give you two ways to look at it. It's C natural minor with a raised seventh note, or you can look at it as the fret numbers. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to do as much of it on the G string as possible. So I have this upper octave, and that would be starting on the 5th fret of the G string, then going to the 7th fret, then the 8th, the 10th, the 12th, the 13th, and then we jump all the way up to the 15th, 16th fret, sorry. And then if we had an extra fret, we could play the C up there, or if you push down really hard, you can, but I don't worry about that. I just solo without the highest note being there. So that was the 16th fret, not the 15th fret there. And then that extra, 17th fret, if we had it, we could round the scale off to C. But that the notes are C, D, E, F, G, A flat, B natural, C. So just a normal B, and then C. So you can do those an octave lower too. It's just it'll clash with the bass line. So that would be C would be the 3rd fret on the A string. D would be the 5th fret on the A string. E flat. If I said E, I meant to say E flat earlier. Then F. E flat would be the 6th fret on the A string. Then F would be the 3rd fret on the D string. Then it would be the 5th fret on the D string. A flat would be the 6th fret on the D. Then B natural would be the 4th fret on the G string. And we're back to that 5th fret on the G string. So we can use both those octaves. And combine it. Obviously, that last note's out of tune. That's why I avoid it. Because it's not an actual fret, it's hard to not make it go sharp. So that's what I'm using to solo. I'm using that set of notes. I might decide to do the G and the A flat on the G string there, so that I have really just all the notes on the G string and I can just do a bunch of stuff without changing strings. That'll get you to C and then just up the rest of the scale. And so then what I try to do when I'm soloing is I try to resolve things or start things. In addition, I start things and resolve them to chord tones. So if I know that D minor 7 flat 5 has a D note, an F note, an A flat note, and a C note, then that way I can use those notes in particular to outline the chord, and then I can use little notes in between just to kind of connect the dots to other stuff. Let me see. I didn't check the audio with you guys. So Alan said, "Hi, Steven. You sound a bit sick." Yeah, I'm a little bit sick. I'm just losing my voice. I don't think it's anything like crazy to worry about that much, but I've been losing my voice the last 2 days. So that's really the only symptom so far I've got. And then Alan says, "Hey, good to see you, Alan. It's been a long time." Alan and Alan. Okay. Is everybody else named Alan that's watching too? That'd be pretty funny. Anyway, let's go ahead and just kind of try soloing over it. So first thing you could do is really just try playing the scale over it just in order. But it's going to clash a little bit because we're not playing the chord tones, like I said. But you just to get that overall sound, I think that's a good thing to do, is just play the scale over the groove. So I'll do that. So we'll start here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You do the low rock. Right? And then now you can start doing things where you outline the chord tones. So we know we have a D over the D chord, and an F and an A flat. And then we get to the G chord. I have a G, a B, a D, and an F. And then over the C minor chord, we'll have a C, an E flat, a G. And I'm leaving out the 7 on that one because we're doing harmonic minor. Okay. So that's something to do. If I want to do it all on one string. So then you just resolve to notes that are in the chord and then use little passing tones that are in the scale, right? Then you can start skipping around like I was doing there. And one thing that really helps is knowing what notes are present in both chords. So like, or in all the chords really. So if we were doing this, I don't think any of them are present in every single chord. But if you're playing the D minor 7 flat 5 chord, you have a D, an F, and an A flat. When you're playing the G 7 chord, you have a G, a B, a D, and an F. So that D and that F are both of those chords. So if you wanted to keep it simple over the first 2 chords, you could just go back and forth between D and F, like this. And then go to the C chord at the end. D, F, D, F, F, D. Just kind of mess around with them. C, C. So that's one thing you can kind of like break it down if you don't know what to do to start. Is just go back and forth between D and F, or depending on where you want to play it on the neck. But just those 2 notes in whatever range you want to do that. So so that's something that you can do to get started there, to make sure that it'll sound good over those 2 chords. And then once you realize you're over the C minor chord, you could do a C minor arpeggio. So you could do that. That's another way to get comfortable with all of it, is just arpeggiate every chord. But let's do the common chord tone thing, where we're doing that D and F over the first part. And over the C minor, I'll just arpeggiate a C, an E flat, and a G note is the arpeggio for the C minor chord. So here's what that would sound like. Right, change the order up on the arpeggio like I did the second time. I'm doing it here where my C is the 10th on the D string, my D is the 12th fret on the D string, then E flat 13th fret on the D string. My F would be the 10th fret on the G string, and my E is going to be the 12th fret on the G string as well. And then we're going to add an A flat in there. So I'm just going to give you that one. That's going to be the 13th fret on the G string. So now I'm going to arpeggiate each chord, and I'm just going to do the adds. I'm not going to add sevenths to it. So for the D minor 7 flat 5, I'm not going to worry about the 7. I'm just going to go D, F, A flat. For the G7 chord, I might use the 7 there, but that would be G, B, D, and F for that one. And then for the C minor chord, I'm just doing C, E flat, and G. So I'm just going to use those and outline the chords there. And that's what this would sound like. And I'm going to mess with the rhythm. So D, F, A flat, G, B, F. So then you can leave out some of them after you get the idea of what notes you can use. don't have to use all of them, right? So I'm going to do a backwards kind of arpeggio thing now. And I'm just messing around with the rhythm a whole bunch. And then I got carried away and started just working up the scale instead at that point. So let's see. Anyone have any questions about any of that or any comments? Just to understand what I'm doing soloing there. If not, that's just basically the idea. Then later on, toward the end of the song, I came back to the melody and just played that whole thing to kind of wrap it up. And then I actually faded out the volume on that one of the loop with my toe. So literally, I let it play. I just took my toe and tried my best to keep it even. Just slowly fade it out. So it's not easy to do with your toe, but somehow on the take that I posted, I did a good job on it. But yeah, there it is. I'm just gonna bring it back. You get the idea. So that was the whole thing. So let's see what Alan says. This is completely random and off topic, but you totally need an auto wah pedal and make that make a funk groove loop. That's a cool idea. I do have like a thing that has something like an auto wah. I have this effects pedal. I would need to hook up an extra guitar cable to make it work. But I have this Boss thing, and it's not the best for like live gigs or anything, but it sounds all right. It might be kind of fun to do something like that as well. But does anybody have any questions about this groove? I know there aren't a lot of people on the chat today. There aren't a lot of people at the moment. So the big thing about this one that I thought was cool, if you're into doing kind of slapped rhythms and thinking like a drummer, is that intro where I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 while doing the clave pattern, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's kind of weird because it's like down, up, down, down, up, right? There's the rhythm for the clave pattern, and then the bass is going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 3. So that's where it's hitting. And then to line them up, the first two hits are going to be both of them together. So what I'm doing is I'm slapping while moving my fingers out, trying to just hit the G string. Occasionally I hit the D string too, which is why I'm muting all of them with the other hand. So that pattern, I'm doing both those together the first time and the second time. Then it's just the thumb. So we got both thumb. And then after that, it's going to be a strum. So it's just, I'll say strum for the fingers and slap for the thumb, and both if it's both of them. Both, slap, strum. Okay. So let's see. And then it's going to be slap, slap after that. So both, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum. Let's see. Yeah, and then it's going to be 2 more slaps followed by strum. Both, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum. And then it starts over. So I'll do it repeatedly like that. Both, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum. Both, slap, slap. Nope, sorry, it's 2 boths. Both, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum. Both, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum. So that's the idea. And there's technically a slap at the very end of it too. So let me say it all over again. Both slap. Okay, both slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap. I can't say it for some reason. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Both slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap, both slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, slap, slap, strum, bass. Or I keep wanting to say bass instead of slap. So that's the idea. And you just got to get used to doing that pattern over and over again. So the hardest part is figuring out how they line up, where they don't line up, and how that fits with the overall rhythm. And once you got that part, everything else about this groove is like easy in comparison. So that's what I like about Bossa Nova grooves is like there are a lot of different rhythms that you can do. And, you know, I use the Partito Alto rhythm for the... And then, of course, that clave rhythm and then that bass drum rhythm in the drum part. And then the bass part locks in with that bass drum rhythm. Like note for note, it locks right in with the slap slap every time. So you get the idea, it locks in precisely with it. And then the melody is just kind of syncopated and kind of fun, kind of interesting stuff. So that's really it for that one. So I want to see if anybody else is still here. Okay, the Allens are still here. I have a hard time slapping in percussion on my bass because it has a sound hole. So yeah, you kind of have to kind of go lighter. You may have to move around the sound hole to not be right over it. But if you do it lightly, you might end up hitting the sound hole on the way down, but honestly, that just adds an element of wood, which the clave is two wood things hitting together, so it might actually make it sound better. Just don't hit it so hard that you hurt the bass or anything. I've got the exotic mahogany right here too, so I could just kind of, let's see. Oops. Hard to hold this and not hit the other one. So yeah, you may want to just be right next to it instead of right over it. That's fine on that if you need to do that. But with this particular slapping, you shouldn't be slapping in a way that would cause the sound hole to get in the way. And then with the strumming, it might hit the sound hole on the way down, but that might hurt your finger a little or something, you know, if you hit it too hard. But other than that, it should be fine. So that's the basic idea on that. So let's go. I'm going to go through it one more time where I build it up from scratch. If I can get it to stop, to delete. And then after that, we'll just kind of play some other things for a minute. And then I might go a little bit early tonight just because I'm losing my voice. So now the bass line. 3, 4. Okay, then the chordal part. And then once that's recorded, you have this whole duration of time to turn off the recording, so it's just doing playback. Then you got the melody. You can solo. And then I do the melody at the end. Maybe a little variation on it. And then, of course, the fade out with the toe, if I can do it right. I'm barefoot, it helps a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of the idea on that one. So hopefully that played okay. I know I kind of didn't minimize the chat there, but yeah, in general with the slap and stuff, I think popping is a little harder when you have the sound hole. Maybe not, because here you might accidentally get some drum sounds on the body that you don't intend, but hopefully that helps a little bit. And Alan, you caught most of the beginning. I covered the percussive part more in detail at the end, so I think you've pretty much got the whole thing. But you can also watch the video from earlier so that you have the tabs on screen. But obviously on Patreon you can kind of print those out anyway, so that's good. But yeah, that's the idea. So it's kind of fun doing a bossa nova thing. I might do a one or two just kind of improvise little jams. But it seems like whatever YouTube changed about their live stream, they're not showing it to as many people. So it's a little disappointing. I've got to figure out what they exactly changed about it. I got a little frustrated about it at the beginning because it's like they made it to where you had to do more stuff before being able to go live than I was used to doing before. So I had to go in and kind of figure all that stuff out. And I think whatever they changed the amount of reach that it does too. So obviously I think the maximum number of people I've had on this has been 5. And normally I have like 20 people show up for the streams. So I'm trying to figure out what they changed and what I have to do to combat it. But it just is what it is. So I'll try to let people know when I'm streaming. And I also know that I started late, so that might have thrown some people off too. I started about 15 minutes late. And part of that was literally just getting used to what they changed. So I will see you guys next Tuesday for another video, next Thursday for a live stream. I hope you are having a great week. And yeah, let me know if there's anything that you want to go over in future things. You can leave them as comments down below. And I'll see you guys next time. I'll probably make up something on the way out. So let's see what I can do. Thinking something more funky since we just did the Latin stuff. It's probably gonna be too busy, but it'll be kind of fun. Kind of loose. Maybe some like hi-hats in there. That's good. So I'll turn the loop pedal off. So I like going back and forth between minor, just natural minor, and Dorian.
Figure out how to harmonize that. You don't like that? Well, that's not great. I'll go ahead and fade it out. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. Good to see the Allens and anybody else that kind of hung out throughout the time. I hope you'll have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys next Tuesday and next Thursday once again. All right. Bye for now.